Welcome back to AI War Classic. Exodian Blade continues, and it's only the third episode of this run, but I think I may be in serious trouble. I may have bitten off more than I can chew here. You can see we haven't captured Dion. We're not going to be able to do that for a while, even though some time has passed. Problem number one is the red AI, the Starship Fanatic / Vanguard one, gets a lot more reinforcements than I thought they would. As a matter of fact, I am not even going to hesitate in saying I think it's an unfair amount. Let's do some comparisons of some systems, see what I mean. Look at Aspasia here. Now, they don't have very many stations, but they've got 49 ships. They got one Guardian in there. This is the green AI. This one has 126 ships. You can see it's got a lot more stations, guard posts, and it's got like 7 Guardians. There is always a little bit of a mix where, like, if we hop in here, like, they get a few Guardians. There's some Widows there, the red ones here, red up there, from the other AI, but you get mostly reinforcements from your own AI. So that's a thing. But then, again, these are Mark II planets. Here's a Mark II planet, Diabesting. It's not even on alert. It's got 32 Guardians. Uranus, not on alert. 40 Guardians. And so, I mean, obviously 40 Guardians, much worse than 120-some fleet ships. It's not even close. And so the problem I'm having is they keep smashing everything. I tried to go through here to hit this data center. I couldn't even get the transport through. And then there's also coordinated issues with that because their special forces starships and Guardians that kept coming in and, relieving stuff. When I did make my way to Dion, trying that approach, I was able to handle the defenses, but they had just enough of those starships and whatnot trickling in that we couldn't hold them off. Got wiped out, got a big reprisal, which smashed everything, because that's green AI is overreactive. It's a green system. And so we've got this thing where if we attack a red system, the starships and Guardians are going to be painful. If we attack a green system, we can't afford to lose much because the reprisals are going to annihilate us. We're at the point right now, I mean, it wasn't quite as bad, in the very, very early parts of the game. We're only an hour and a half in. Even a level 1 reprisal can make me lose a system. Like a big level 1 reprisal is over 1,000 ships now. Level 3 is several thousand ships. And that's only going to go up. So we really can't lose a bunch of stuff on their systems. I mean, I hate to think what a reprisal would look like if we were crashing into one of their homeworlds. And so the combination of those two things is just a bear. So what am I going to do about this? I haven't totally formulated the plan yet. But one thing that was really obvious to me is I want to keep AI progress as low as I can. Even more than that, I need to knock out any special forces posts on any red planets that are on alert. So I've done that on V-Date, on Vanth, and Palma. And it took quite a bit of doing, especially in here. Because whether it was through special forces stuff wandering through or whatever, they had a couple of Mark IV flagships and some Mark II plasma siege, a few of them, and a high-level leech or two. And even with all my ships massed together, they smashed through Lunrace and I had to rebuild it. And of course, that cost quite a bit of time, quite a bit of resources. I'm about to come in here and finish off the rest of the resistance in this system. But I've also had to switch my strategy with my fleet. If we pop in here, I'm not building any of my fighters, bombers, or frigates, because the Guardians just chew them up. They've got Widow Guardians, they've got Translocator Guardians, they've got Tractor Guardians. That's not even getting into the ion cannons or the eyes on the various planets. Now, fortunately, the siege engines, Zenith siege engine, they're immune to a lot of that stuff. I'm still building those, but that's it. Everything else, I'm focusing on the starships. I'm going to need to continue to do that, I think, long-term in this game. So, here is my fleet as it is. 25 some ships. See, I've got the engineers out here to repair. And I've basically been doing hit-and-run tactics going in, trying not to lose too much, come out, repair, and then building up my metal. And it's finally almost up all the way. So let's go ahead and take a look at the end of this battle, or the last part of it, if you will. Now what they've got over here is a spider. We'll get rid of that. Warp Gate Guardians take a lot of pounding. But then they've got these Combat Carrier Guardians. And those are new. And I'm just going to hang out here. And I like to hang out at the wormhole as much as possible because of how much more effective it makes the Zenith siege engines. They don't have to move and then waste time reloading. And here's all the drones, which is what the Combat Carrier Guardian throws out. And boom, now those are gone. Now we're going to go after it. And these are staying here, of course, because they've been immobilized due to engine issues. There we go. Let's get the Warp Gate Guardian. Now some of them can move again. And all of our 9 Zool are ticking these off, and that's very much a feature, not a bug, as far as I'm concerned. There we go. Is the fact that I can use, you know what, let's just go after the spider. But I can use them to, you know, antagonize the Guardians, get them away from their guard posts. I do not want to kill the guard posts because I want to use this system so that they sort of have to dump reinforcement into it. Let's see, let's go after Lightning. Lightning Guardian will be the next one. And of course, their Tractor Guardians, yeah, they can tractor my 9 Zool drones. That's about all they're going to be able to do. Come on. There we go. Okay, so now we're cleared out in here. And I just want to come back in here. You know, I don't want to destroy the posts. I just want to come back in here whenever they get a bunch more reinforcements and clear it out again. And that way, sort of try to keep their numbers as limited as I can, keep the system neutered. So we're going to escape with all of this stuff. Now you can see that our energy is... It's not exactly healthy. It's not looking great. But this was the last system that's, you know, adjacent, that's on alert that I needed to deal with. And we've almost got all of our research sort of harvested, science harvested from the various planets. Now, going forward, I was going to get the assault transports, and I tried that route. I'm actually going to do something different here, is I'm just going to use the cloaker starships and sort of grind my way through systems. Now, here you can see we've got a couple more Guardians that have decided to float in here. They've knocked out some metal harvesters. We will eliminate them soon with all of our turrets and whatnot. We have turrets at a fairly minimal level to be able to field a maximum fleet. But the assault transport, 10,000 energy, 3,000 to research it. I just don't think I can afford it. The cheapest, most effective way by far to upgrade my fighting force, which I obviously need to do. I would normally invest in defense, but I have to be able to attack in some way. And I actually think I just need to focus on a mobile defense for this game. So I'm going to upgrade all of my flagships that I'm currently using to Mark II. You can see I've already got the Zenith and the Spire. We're using those already. Flagship, obviously a big one, boosting from the 40% to 70% bonus. Now, I'm low on energy. I'm not going to build all these. What I'm going to need to do is scrap all my Mark I stuff and build Mark II. That's a temporary sink of metal. But, you know, as we've seen before, if we do the comparison, 320k health, 640k health, the attack and the health are both doubled. So you can think of that as being roughly a 4 times multiplier in terms of effectiveness. Plasma Siege and Bomber, and then also the 9 Zool Enclave. Those are the ones that I'm using. I shouldn't need a higher mark of the Cloaker. I'm not using the Riot Control because I'm doing an anti-Guardian strategy here. Same reason for not grabbing the Leech, and I don't think it's worth upgrading the Raid Starship at this point. By building all of these higher mark starships, I can maximize my effectiveness. And the next step is I've got to grind through and get to the 2 data centers so I can lower their reinforcement level as much as I can. I could drop the AI progress from its current 50 down to, at least for the moment, to 20 by knocking out those 2. Over here in Typhon and over here in Ouija Man. So we're going to have to go through some over here, definitely some Guardian-infested territory. And over here, Typhon's high mark ships, that's going to be an issue. But there's little choice in the matter, and all other options are worse. It's been about another half hour. We have made some progress, and I'm also a little more encouraged. Things aren't looking quite as dire. Now, the main thing we achieved is getting into Typhon here and knocking out that data center, so we're down to 35 AI progress. That spawned almost 200 threat, but most of it wasn't Guardians. Most of it was high mark fleet ships, and when I was about to go attack them over here in V-Date was the biggest concentration. They actually came into the homeworld. That scrap metal was very useful. Now, the way we accomplished this was using the Cloaker starships, and I would send a couple bombers through a wormhole, knock out a Tachyon Sentinel, like, for example, here at NHO, when we breached into Typhon, send the bombers through, knock out the Tachyon Sentinel, get them back in and get them cloaked, repair them if I needed to, back at the homeworld, come back out, and then we'd be able to send them through with the Cloaker, and therefore they would take very little to no damage once they got through. And the data center was right over here, so it's sort of like a poor man's raiding effort. I mean, raiding with the assault transports and the raid starships much faster, but this sort of grindy way did work. Using the scrap metal, we have begun to build our Zenith power generator, which of course is our next big strategic objective in terms of the economy. I'll be able to build, a much more full fleet if I can get that energy online, be able to improve our defenses, be feeling much better about our situation. Now we're building it at its natural speed of 1429 per second. You can see down there. Our natural income is just under 1,600. We've got a good amount of that scrap coming at the moment, but so it's even with no scrap, it is a slight positive in our metal that way. Of course, we have all of the Mark II starships built. I didn't build the Enclave ones, preferring to keep around the Spire Mark I starship, but I may tweak that a little bit later. That's what we're using at the moment. But the real good news is that it doesn't appear that they're reinforcing the Guardians nearly as fast as I thought. It's more like they had a significant amount of them to start seeded into the galaxy when the game was created. Diabeasting still 32. And down here in Thea, they've gained like almost 20 maybe fleet ships, but here no more Guardians were added. And the other red systems that I'm seeing, for example, Palma down here, now they've got a handful of Guardians down here that they've added, but I rated that quite a while ago. So it's not quite as bad when it comes to that, and if they're not going to regain too many of the Guardians, then I can go through and clean them out occasionally, and that's fine. That'll be a lot better than, them gaining more, which is what it looked like before. So right now I'm trying to get down here to this data center, currently trying to make the jump from Vanth to Uranus, and I just did it briefly with, there we go, with this bomber starship. I didn't even try to knock out the Tachyon Sentinel this time. There's too much resistance in there. I just popped in to tick them off and came back out, and you can see it worked. Here comes some fun, but there's only about 30 of them left in there. So, it did weed it out a fair amount. I've got the rest of the fleet on the opposite side there. So I'm going to go ahead and send these home. Whoa. For some reason I didn't take the Cloaker with. Let's try that again. There we go. And I want to see what these do. Well, the raid starship went through. If they all go through and attack, then I'm going to be very happy indeed, because that's what I would like them to do. More salvage for me. And let's see if they're all going to go in. Oh, the spider says no. Vampire, no. Heavy bomber, no. Okay. So then I want to move my fleet in here before everything gets all up and concentrated and try to knock out as many of these as I can. And the first thing I want to do is get this Cloaker. Well, no, I won't do that. We'll just go ahead and grab everybody, activate And then we're just going to take the cloaker out of the system. There we go. Because we don't want your participation at all. So this is what we're going to fight with. Let's hop in there and see how it goes. Not going to use this bomber. I want that to repair. And that'll limit us a bit. But it'll be what it is. Okay, where is... Looks like that's going to be our first target. And we're going to lose some things here, but I don't care about losing the Zenith siege engines. I care about everything else. Alright, there we go. Looks like the translocator is going to go down soon. And I think that flagship... Yeah, Mark II flagship. Let's knock that out. Of course, we've got more of the drones coming. Another combat carrier headed this way. Okay, where are we at? We're pretty good on health except for the Zenith sieges. They do tend to go for those first. And believe me, that's just fine with me. What do we want to hit next? You know what? Let's go for these vampires. Yeah, I think that Spire is a good next target. How's everybody doing? Zenith would take quite a bit of hitting. Let's see if we can do it. See if we can take out the Zenith and then go. I think we can. Okay, you're getting hit. So let's take you out before you die. See if everybody else can handle this. I think we made it. What do we have left? You know, I might be able to do a little more. Let's go after that Lightning Guardian. And you? The Zenith is still alive. Oops. Or that's another one. Come on, die. Okay, now I'm leaving. I do not want to press my luck. We've got plenty of ships that are really starting to get hammered. Okay, that worked just about perfectly. So that's the kind of brinkmanship I want to try to do. Now I'm going to repair. If I come back in here, what else do we have left? We've got a warp gate, a self-destruction guardian. Those are just sort of kamikaze things. EMP. See, the one combat carrier, a spider. But I don't think we should have any trouble clearing the rest of this out. Then we can try to pound back into Uranus and see what all is involved there. So next up, I sent the bomber starships through, knocked out the Tachyon Sentinels both sides of this wormhole. We're now only one jump away from Ouija Man down here, but I couldn't get anybody else to follow. I don't feel that the resistance in here is too horrible. We're about to find out whether or not we can handle it. And yeah, we're still not close enough to them. They're just ignoring us. Now we got to watch out for this arachnid here. But if I stay away from that, you know, there's a MLRS down here. So there's like a bit that I've got to thread right between the two. And I just want to get down here just enough. Oh, we're cloaked, that's why. Never mind. I kept the cloakers too close. So let's keep the rest of the group in the middle. Just have the cloakers hang out a little bit lower so that everybody's exposed. What in the world is shooting at me with a missile from back here? Is there a missile guard post reaching that far? Oh, just barely. Okay. Cloakers, let's see. You go... Yeah, that's still active. So I'm trying to navigate all my ranges. Cloakers, go down here. Everybody else, you move here. I want to be far enough away to irritate everybody, but not so far that... There they go. Let's knock out some of these lightnings and see what happens. So all I really need to do is get down here and knock out that. There we go. Okay, yeah, now we're ticking off. Oh, are you actually going to activate now? Just barely. Let's move. I don't want to get in the range of that. But if I can stay right in the middle, let's try it. Now all of a sudden we've ticked off everybody. So let's just move right back out there. Lightnings, please. Tractor. What have we lost? I actually don't think we've lost anything important. We're going to lose a plasma soon. Let's clean up these lightnings. And that one. Okay. We did lose a plasma. We're going to lose another one. But all we're really getting hit with here is spiders. We have lost enough for reprisal too, and even though this isn't the bad AI for that, I think by cleaning out these two things we've done enough. So let's get out and prepare to try to see what we can trigger in Ouija Man. The same poke the bear strategy eventually worked right in here in Ouija Man. Here's our data center, finally in place, cloaked with a couple of bomber starships. Right over here is the entry point, so it's right by all this fun stuff, which was just great. We ticked off a few Guardians, a few Spiders. There was a Mark IV flagship in there that was all kinds of fun. But eventually got the job done. So let's go ahead and make this happen. Got to activate our bombers. Tell them to hit target. Boom. Okay, now deactivate. Go back to the cloaker. And this is the part where we simply run and try to keep them alive, because it'll take a bit for that cloak to reactivate, per usual. We're not going to outrun the missile guard post. So let's just move like right over here. Cloak anytime you feel like it, boys. There we go. We can move back through. And we're going to save at least one of them, but one of them may get away. Yep, on entry of the wormhole, stuff usually gets off one shot. Unfortunately, the MLRS got it here. And let's just move up by the wormhole and let their irritated guardians pass by us. But I think we're going to make it. Okay, so we have finally knocked out the two data centers. It took some work, but we did it. So what's next? Well, it's actually not going to be long till the CPA hits. Let's check back in with our Zenith power generator. And that's just over halfway. It just needs 2 million and change. So it's actually kind of debatable for me at this point whether I should just build that before pushing out further. I'm probably going to want the extra energy to fuel our assault on Dion, which is up next. But we're definitely going to work our way there at least. That means hopping into Melpomene here through a Craddock method. And Melpomene actually isn't as bad as it looks, being a Mark IV planet, because it's got everything clustered underneath this wonderful translocator command station. All the more reason to have starships that are immune to translocation. So all we really need to do is pop these mostly gravity rippers there. Go over and pop them here. And we should be able to actually get through this system reasonably quickly. And gradually pound our way through to Dion. And we still have current intel here. And their defenses aren't that bad. Mark II flagship, Mark II raid. They've got a Widow Guardian, but mostly it's frigates and stuff like that that we can handle. And the overall system defenses, as we noted before, weren't too bad, although the Spire starships will be a bit of a bear. But yeah, I think probably what I'm going to do is build up the power generator, get more starships built before I come in here. This is an awful slow start. Not what you want when facing the quadratic AI, but it's sort of what we're forced into. And I do feel like we're on a path to make progress here. So last session I said we're going to capture Dion. Maybe I'll be able to actually finish it this time by the time I come back. We shall see. But in any case, thanks for watching, everybody. More AOR Classic will continue, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up the pace before too much longer.